Hi, my name is Jasmine Jacobson, and this is my LBST 1102 final project. So this project is focused on the movie Beasts of No Nation. It follows a story of a young boy named Agu who lives in Africa. When a war breaks out in his country, Agu is forced to become a child soldier. This movie utilizes a lot of different techniques and forms to create not only a visually appealing film, but it also furthers the message and impacts the viewer. For example, the film uses a lot of vibrant colors, and when it's coupled with the scenery in Ghana where the film was actually filmed, it makes for beautiful shots. And so in this image you can see one of the images from the movie showing the greenery in the bushes and everything. So another technique used in the movie is selective coloring when Agu is under the influence of drugs. And so in this scene, all of the green plants are instead light red and pink. This is actually a reference to Richard Moose, who was a photographer. He used this infrared film that would pick up infrared light reflected off of chlorophyll in plants. The film was used in World War II to help detect camouflage and people hiding in the bushes. And so this link right here is a video interviewing Richard Moose and going through his work and his use of the film. And then this image is from the movie Beasts of No Nation, showing the reds in the bushes and everything when he's under the influence of the drugs. So another technique that is used in the movie is a lot of close-up zooms, or zoomed-in shots of Agu when he's doing certain actions or when he's having specific thoughts. And it helps to make the viewer feel like they're more connected to Agu. And then lastly, there are a lot of zoomed out shots showing the environment in the situation, which also help to further the idea of kind of this beauty within the war, or vice versa, where the war is kind of changing the environment, such as in this picture. The war is kind of like having this eerie effect on the landscape. And then in this image is one of the examples of how, or of a close zoomed in shot of Agu as he's thinking in the movie. So in my personal response, the film was very intense and gruesome. I was not expecting to see some of the things that I did, such as when Agu was forced to kill the man. I'm used to movies where if there is a killing, it's not focused and it's not shown on the screen. But by showing this violence and the gore, the film aims to raise more attention to the situation, what these child soldiers are going through. In addition, I have never been in Agu's situation. However, I could kind of relate to him in some ways, as I'm sure most of us can. Specifically when he made the decision to join the soldiers out of fear. We've all made decisions out of fear, most of which we regret because we're not thinking clearly. And so this link right here is linked to a website that talks about how fear influences our decision and also our interactions with other people when we have a lot of fear. So, this movie shows us not only Agu's situation, but also shows us the effects of being a child soldier does to a kid and how their childhood is ripped away from them. Agu started as a sweet kid who would laugh and play with his friends, but at the end of the film, Agu does not want to play with the other children and he sees himself as a beast. And so this image is in the very beginning of the movie when he's laughing and playing with his friends. And then this is a link to a TikTok clip where at the end of the film he's talking to the counselor how he's seen terrible things and he's done terrible things. So the movie also shows how many child soldiers use drugs and alcohol as a way to cope with the horrors that they see and do. And then furthermore, it shows how these kids are forced to be a child soldier through fear and manipulation and through the grief of losing their family because they have nowhere else to go. And the cultural significance in this movie is obviously about child soldiers. It's trying to raise attention to what these children go through. And after doing a lot of research, 300,000 children are thought to be believed child soldiers in various conflicts today. And there is a treaty to help stop child soldiers. However, only 168 countries have signed it. There are still 29 countries that have not signed the treaty. And so this here is a link to a Twitter post about this organization that is aimed to kind of stop the use of child soldiers, to raise awareness to them. And then this post specifically is talking about this treaty and how it's been signed by the countries and stuff like that. And then child soldiers are still used today, however, not many people talk about it. And before watching this movie and doing a lot of other research, I didn't know that child soldiers were still a thing today. I thought it was just something that happened in the past and it was no longer an issue. And so I'm wondering if not a lot of other people are talking about it because they don't know the issue as well. And then, so this link right here also talks about, child soldiers being used today, what they go through, stuff like that. And then one of the things that really stood out to me was that when I was researching in this website, it said that some of them actually, when they go back home, they can be rejected by their families because their families are hesitant and they don't know what they've been through and stuff like that. And so the last thing that I included was just more social media posts about trying to raise awareness of these child soldiers and trying to put a stop to it. So here's an Instagram post, and then there's also another Twitter post from the same organization as the one before, as they're trying to raise awareness to the children that they have tried to stop from being used in conflicts and everything. And so hopefully with the use of these social media posts and bringing attention to the situation, we're able to get more countries to sign this treaty and to be able to stop the use of child soldiers, because no child should ever have to go through that. They shouldn't have to have their childhood ripped away from them and see all of the violence and do terrible things. They should be learning about math and science rather than learning how to hold a gun and how to shoot someone. So that is my final project, and thank you guys for listening in.